Welcome to Coffee and a Pipe. I'm Eric. Please sit down, pour yourself a coffee, light your pipe if you have one, and join me for a quiet moment. Today, I'd like to talk about something a little different. Over the last few videos, I may have sounded a little more passionate than usual, perhaps a little opinionated, perhaps a little stubborn, and if we're being completely honest, perhaps a little grumpy from time to time. Looking back, I can see how some of those videos might have come across, so I feel I owe you a small apology. Not because I suddenly changed my mind, and not because I regret sharing my thoughts, but because the tone may have suggested that these things mattered far more than they actually do. And the truth is, they really don't. At the end of the day, we're talking about pipes and tobacco. A hobby. A wonderfully relaxing hobby, but still a hobby. Nobody is solving world hunger with a bent billiard. Nobody is preventing a global crisis with a tin of Virginia flake. We're simply enjoying ourselves. And sometimes we should remind ourselves of that. One of the things I love most about pipe smoking is that there are almost as many opinions as there are pipe smokers. Some people prefer large pipes. Others prefer small ones. Some enjoy straight pipes. Others wouldn't smoke anything but a bent pipe. Some prefer strong tobaccos. Others prefer something light and gentle. One smoker's favorite blend is another smoker's least favorite tobacco. And somehow, that's exactly how it should be. There is no universal pipe. There is no universal tobacco. There is no final answer. Despite what some of us may occasionally sound like, there is certainly no pipe-smoking Supreme Court handing down official rulings from above. Most of us are simply sharing our experiences. Nothing more, nothing less. When I first became interested in pipes, I spent countless hours watching videos on YouTube. Like many beginners, I wanted guidance. I wanted to know what I could expect from a tobacco before spending my money on it. Was it sweet? Was it strong? Would it bite? Was it suitable for a beginner? Did it smell pleasant? Was it something I might enjoy? Those videos were incredibly helpful. In many ways, they still are. Tobacco reviews, pipe discussions, beginner guides, restoration videos, collection tours, and simple conversations around a pipe have introduced thousands of people to this hobby. They help keep the community alive, and for that, I am genuinely grateful. The truth is that tobacco reviews are important, not because they can tell us exactly what we will experience, but because they give us a starting point. They help us decide what might be worth trying. They help beginners find their way, and they encourage conversation. Were they always accurate to my own experience? Not at all, but that was never really the point. A reviewer may describe notes of hay, citrus, dark fruit, honey, fresh bread, old leather, and memories of a summer evening 40 years ago. You might light the very same tobacco and simply think, well, it tastes like tobacco, and that's perfectly fine. Neither person is wrong. They're simply describing their own experience. Sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we begin treating opinions as facts. Sometimes we become convinced that our own preferences are somehow the correct preferences. And every now and then, if we're not careful, we can end up debating things that are supposed to help us relax. That's rather funny when you think about it. A hobby built around slowing down somehow manages to speed people up. Perhaps that's where a little satire enters the picture, because if I'm completely honest, some of my recent observations were never meant to be taken as serious criticism. They were more like a gentle smile, a raised eyebrow, a few grains of salt sprinkled over the conversation. The kind of humor that comes from recognizing the little quirks that exist in every hobby. And pipe smoking certainly has its share of quirks, mine included, especially mine included. The longer I participate in this hobby, the more I realize that certainty becomes less important. I know what I enjoy. I know what works for me. But I also know that someone else may enjoy something entirely different, and that's perfectly acceptable. In fact, it's one of the reasons this hobby remains interesting. If we all smoked the same pipes, packed them the same way, smoked the same tobaccos, and held exactly the same opinions, there would be very little left to talk about. The variety is what makes the community enjoyable. So if my recent videos sounded harsher than I intended, please accept my apology. The videos were never meant as attacks on anyone. They were simply observations mixed with personal opinions and more than a few grains of salt. A little satire, a little exaggeration, and perhaps a reminder that none of us should take this hobby quite as seriously as we sometimes do. Least of all, me. Because at the end of the day, we're simply people sitting in comfortable chairs, enjoying a bowl of tobacco, talking about flavors, pipes, techniques, and the little things that make life pleasant. There are far more important matters in the world. This hobby should be a source of enjoyment, not division, a source of friendship, not arguments, and certainly a source of relaxation, not frustration. So let's keep sharing our experiences. Let's keep reviewing tobaccos. Let's keep helping beginners discover their first favorite blend. Let's keep discussing pipes, shapes, techniques, and traditions. And let's remember that every opinion, including my own, is simply one voice among many. Thank you for listening, and thank you for being part of this small corner of the world. Take your time. This moment is yours.